everyone, and welcome back to Royalty Soaps. Today I'm going to be making Sugar Plum Fairy. It is a high top soap and it's also very intricate, so I'm only going to be making 2 loaves of it. I have already made 2 other loaves that are already on the curing racks, but because it is such a complex design, I like to work in smaller batches so I can make sure that everything is just right. So without further ado, let's get soap making. First thing is first, we want to blend our lye water solution and with our oils. I'm pouring it down the stick blender so it doesn't create any air bubbles in the liquid. And then before I even mix this up, I'm gonna take my handy dandy spatula and scrapey out this container. Make sure that there is no more lye water in there and that it's all mixed in with the oils. Now we're gonna blend on low until light trace. Now that this container is all blended up, I'm gonna scoot it back a little bit. And here are the 3 containers we're going to use for the accent colors. So I'm gonna pour off a little bit, not a whole bunch, just about this much for each one of them. Now that everything has been poured into the proper containers, we're gonna start adding the colorants. I just stocked up on colorants from both TKB and Nurture, so all of my little jars are full. It makes me so happy, so aesthetically pleasing. So this first color is Cosmic Carolyn. This is from TKB. This is a beautiful pink. I'm gonna put about 3/4 of a teaspoon or so in that container there. This next color here is Titanium Dioxide. It's also from TKB Trading. And the final color is Maya Gold. This is from Nurture Soap. It is an exact duplication of Aztec Gold from TKB. And into this big bucket here, we're going to be adding Vibrance Purple. This is the purple that I use all the time. It is super pigmented. Any sort of oxide for purple I find doesn't actually work that well. It either goes like a lavender color or it ends up being too blue. So I definitely recommend sticking with a mica for your purples. Now I'm gonna blend all of these colors into the soap and then I'm gonna add my fragrance oil and we're gonna start pouring into the molds. The next step is to blend up all of these colors. I'll start with the lightest one first and work my way over to the purple. I'm taking the time now to scrape down the sides of all these buckets here. Sometimes some of the mica gets stuck and I want to make sure that it's super good and incorporated. The fragrance oil I am using today is actually from a company in the UK. I make 1 order a year from these guys. They're some of my favorite. They're called Scent Perfect and this is Toasted Almond and Plum Crumble. I cannot express to you how much I love these fragrance oils. They are so much more expensive than what I'm used to paying because I have to ship them all the way over from Great Britain, but it is worth it. I'm going to go ahead and pour this into the buckets and then we're going to start putting these in the molds. We're pouring in a whole lot of purple first. We're gonna do sort of a version of the butterfly swirl, but not a very good one. Mainly because my soap is pretty thick. It's not thick because of the fragrance oil, it's thick because of how cold this room is. So first I'm going to pour in the gold color. We're only pouring the color down one side of the soap. Whenever you do a butterfly swirl, it looks a lot prettier if you try to keep all the colors sort of in the same place. Next is the white. I'm gonna go all the way down and back. And again on this side, all the way down and back, trying to hold it at a decent height so that it will go a little deeper. And then the pink, which I'm holding up even higher. Just like this, and you can see the soap from this side is starting to displace and slide a little bit over to the other side. That's just what we want. I'm gonna shake these down. I'm now putting in the very last bit of purple that I have, scraping out this container so that we don't have hardly anything left. Now that the last bit of purple is in, we're going to go down one more time with the colors, probably just putting one swipe on there. There's not really enough for anything else. I'm gonna put a little more of this white on next, and finally finally the pink right here on top. I haven't scraped any of the containers yet still. I'm just gonna tap these down and then we're going to do the swirl. This is not going to be the best example of a butterfly swirl. If you wanna see a really good one, you should go over to my buddy from Handmade in Florida's channel and watch hers. I'll put a link to that right now in the eye in the upper right hand corner so that you can see what a proper butterfly swirl is supposed to look like. But essentially all you're trying to do is flick out from one side to the other. So that's about how I'm gonna do it here. And then on this side, I'm gonna flick out toward the bits that don't have a lot of color, that have just mainly purple. Just like that. Get all the extra off here. And now we're gonna tap these down one more time to make sure that there's no air bubbles in there. Now I'm gonna take the time to scrape all of these containers clean, put the rest of the soap on top, and we will get to the very detailed and very fun piping. So I forgot that before we put the piping on, there's actually some embeds we get to put in. So I have colored these little squares with the Vibrance mica, the purple Vibrance mica, and I'm just going to put them in wherever the little lines are on the sides here. That way whenever we cut through the soap, there will be all these little squares down it. I just thought it would be kind of fun to add another level of like geometric awesomeness this soap here. So I'm just gonna make sure that every single soap has at least one that will be visible once the soap is cut. And then after that, I'll start putting them in sort of randomly. This fragrance oil is one of my absolute favorites. It smells so delicious. The plum and sort of the baked goods smell both come out really strong, but it doesn't discolor the soap. It is so great. Hardly ever do I find bakery scents that smell so rich and buttery and delicious that don't just turn your soap a completely horrible color. This soap and all the other soaps that we're going to be making will be available on November 29th, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time at royaltysoaps.com. We decided to wait to do the release after kind of the big rush of Cyber Monday and Thanksgiving and Black Friday. That way you guys could get the other deals that you're looking for online and not have to worry about, you know, setting alarms and stuff on the same day for our shop. We just were trying to be considerate of y'all's other shopping purchases you probably are wanting to make for the holiday season. There's always people who ask this, so I just want to tell you now, we do ship worldwide. I have always shipped internationally, so if you're in a different country, you can buy from my shop just like anyone here in the United States. Okay, so now that all of my soap squares are in the mold, I'm gonna let this sit and harden up some more. I'm gonna spray it with some rubbing alcohol just so that these glycerin soap pieces really adhere to the piping we're gonna be putting on top. I'm gonna mix up my piping and then we'll start putting on the frosting. With the Royalty Soaps piping set and the large round piping tip, I'm going to be putting 3 little dollops across my soap here. These 2 on the ends will have some really pretty little soap curls stuck in them. So I want to make sure that they hit all the way to the end of the soap and that I don't leave any space there. The piping has been colored with the Maya Gold from Nurture Soap. And then I have 1 little dollop that will be going on top that I've colored with one of their Flare micas. I'm not sure if they're still calling them Flare micas or if those are their biodegradable glitters now. They certainly are super shiny though. I call this soap Sugar Plum Fairy Soap, not just because the fragrance that's in it is a plum scent, but also because as a child, the Sugar Plum Fairy was, of course, my favorite character from Tchaikovsky's The Nutcracker Ballet. So every year we would either watch the Nutcracker Ballet on TV, like on one of our local stations, or we would go see it. More recently, we've been able to go see it because of the Down Syndrome Guild of Dallas. They give us tickets every year. And you know, there's always 2 different versions of it. There's like the version where Clara in her dream with the Nutcracker sees like the fairies and the people, like there's the Waltz of the Flowers, there's the Chinese dancers, there's the Russian dancers, and they're either playing those items or it's like a version where all of those things are candy. I think one of them is marzipan, and then there's like the Sugar Plum Fairy, obviously, who is the Sugar Plum Fairy in both versions, and then there's like candy canes, and there's like Madame them something instead of like the big lady with all the small children under her skirt. So yeah, all that to say, there's like a candy version, and then there's like different cultures, I guess, version, because there's like the Arabian dancers and the Russian dancers and the Chinese dancers and all that. I honestly prefer the candy version a little bit more just because I think the costumes are prettier. I considered doing this year, but I thought maybe I would wait and try it next year. Next year, maybe for my Christmas soaps, I will make them all inspired by the Nutcracker instead. I think that would be really fun for a Christmas theme. Okay, so the camera was being super weird, but Caleb ended up piping that top part. I'm so proud of you. You did such a good job.
Oh yeah, it looks great.
I think it looks really good, especially since this is like one of your first time piping. It will look super good as well after it's been cut up. So now we are taking all of these little soapy curls here, and each soap is getting 2 of them, 1 on either side. Now we're making it so that none of these little soap curls get cut by the soap cutter, but if you happen to put it on the line where it does get cut, it actually looks really cool to have a cut up soap curl. Some of the soaps I design, I do that purposefully on. It's really cold out today, isn't it? Especially for the time of year it is. Do you prefer cold or warm weather, Caleb?
Warm. I'd rather it be like 80 degrees than 60.
80? That sure would be like a really nice type of weather for Texas. It's like 90 or 40. There's no in between around here.
You don't shut up, you get left behind.
Caleb has gone now to kick the cat outside. He is now an indoor-outdoor cat. He's gravy. He was not exceptionally happy with staying indoors all the time, so he goes inside and outside now, and he is bawling his face off because he wants to go outside to play in the leaves. If you've seen my Instagram story lately, you know the cat is crazy now. I think it's just the change of weather. He is all sorts of frisky and just like runs around outside and chases leaves and bites them and then will run back inside as fast as he can. He's just nuts. Oh my gosh, the soap smells so good. I am just obsessed with this fragrance. What's your favorite fragrance that we've used thus far, Caleb?
Probably the frankincense and myrrh. I think that one's pretty good.
Oh yeah, that is a pretty good one. I can see why you would like that one the most. Out of all the fragrances I've used this time, I think that one's probably the most masculine leaning, but it also kind of smells like essential oils. So people who like sort of a patchouli, sandalwood type smell, that's gonna be one that you're gonna like. These soap curls are giving me life. I love them. You did such a good job with them.
Thank you.
Last one. Shove it in. Now that all the embeds are in, we're gonna spritz the top with rubbing alcohol, and then I'm going to put just a little bit of my favorite glitter of all time. It's the White Diamond from TKB. There's links down below. Right here on the top, lots of glitter for this soap. It really makes the colors on top pop, especially the little soap balls that we have here. Do this one. So much glitter. Also because it's Sugar Plum Fairy and fairies have glitter. That's just the way it is.
You used it all up on the first one.
I know, I need more now. More glitter. I had to refill. I needed more on this one. I put so much on the other one, I literally like used up half a bottle. And that, my friends, is the finished Sugar Plum Fairy soap. Here's a little close-up of all the bars. Caleb's over here saying that some of them don't look that bad that he piped. I say give this video a big thumbs up if you think he did an awesome job at piping these, because I think he's being way too hard on himself. So we're gonna let this sit for 18 to 24 hours, and then we're gonna come back and chop up these beautiful bars. Okay, so we are back to cut the Sugar Plum Fairy soap. It has been sitting in the mold for a few days. It was still a little bit soft after day 1, so I just left it in the mold for a little while longer. I do have to cut this using my bud cutter because I placed some of the things in the wrong area, so it would totally whack up all the little soap gumballs if I didn't use this. So remove it, and this is kind of what it looks like on the inside. I didn't get very many swirls out on this one. I'm still trying to master that butterfly swirl. I'm not a master of it yet. This smells so strong, you guys. Oh my goodness, so good. That plum is coming at you strong. And this is what all the Sugar Plum Fairy soaps look like once they've been all wrapped up and labeled. Thanks so much for joining us today, you guys. If you enjoyed this video, you can give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, maybe even leave us a comment down below. Caleb, do you have a question of the day for us?
Would you rather fight off a dog-sized cockroach or a horse-sized rat?
What the heck? Gross. I don't think I could deal with a cockroach that big, so I'm gonna go ahead and say the horse-sized rat. I'm serious. I can't deal with the cockroaches. Like, no. If you would like to vote in the question of the day, you can click the I in the upper right hand corner of the screen. That's where the little poll will be. And until next time, we hope you guys have an absolutely royal day, and bye for now.